He's eating a bone.
Like, well, listen, somebody's got to.
The listeners can't hear that.
Fuck, we can.
This week. Oh, nothing good. I got nothing.
Shit. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Nothing Good. But we have
Welcome back.
Welcome back, dear sweet listeners.
We have another special episode.
Another 2 weeks in a row here. Wait, are we doing the fappening?
No, that's for the 100 episode special.
Okay.
No.
That's not going to be Bad Boys 3?
That's too
Sega
too
Channel
new.
Redux.
It's too new.
Did we have like the original,
no,
not the 1986 Transformers, but the Michael Bay? Did we put that on there?
No, nobody's putting that on the fucking
I try real
list.
hard to
I'm
avoid
putting
Mike
that
Bay.
on the fucking list.
Put it on the list right now.
Fuck you
God
guys.
damn it.
We talked about video games in 2019. I can put Transformers 2007 on the fucking list.
You definitely watched that more than you played the games we talk about.
We found ourselves
last week.
in an interesting position. This position is that we have a laundry list of ideas to choose from.
And one in particular that we're really dying to talk about.
Yeah, but we gotta wait for certain parties to show up in order to do that.
Jeff's here.
No. I know Jeff's here.
But
I'm always
Jones,
here.
you're here.
Of course I am.
Something's missing.
I'm here.
Oh man, there's somebody missing. I wonder who that is.
He knows who it is.
Yeah,
He knows.
You know what you fucking did.
He knows what he's doing.
We missed Noah yet again. He'll
We
be
do.
back at a later date sometime in 2026. But what we have today is something a little different. So we're just kind of go with, this is kind of like a low effort, Nothing Good, Volume 1. So we thought it'd be kind of a cool idea, just kind of sit down, bullshit a little bit, pull back the curtain, if you will, into the inner workings of how we come up with ideas. That's not because we have no ideas. It's because
we have too many ideas.
too many.
We really do.
Yeah.
And I've been looking at the list lately, and there's a lot of things I want to add to it.
and that's why we're doing this.
That's why we're doing this, exactly.
I thought it'd be kind of fun to just kind of like a free-form conversation. And I think actually, too, and I didn't mention this to Guy, I think this will be kind of cool to do. It gives the audiences to kind of catch like different ideas, maybe over social media, Twitter, Facebook, via text. Those of us.
Do you remember when we had our fan reach out and request us to do cover the WWE in your house?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened to our fan?
I'm sure he's around
I hope
somewhere.
he's okay.
I hope he's listening.
Should we send him a fruit basket or something?
I think that's weird, but we could.
You should deliver it yourself.
Yeah, put it under your name.
I will
hand deliver it.
I will deliver it, but I will have to deliver it as Chris Evans with the whipped cream bikini.
That's whatever you want to do, man.
That's what I have to do.
This is your world.
Yeah.
We're just living in it.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna kind of talk about
Some
ideas.
random shit.
We're just gonna come up with some ideas for subjects, some topics. I'll go first.
Yeah, we're definitely riffing on this one.
Yeah, I like that. I kind of think that's the best stuff.
But before you go first, what's everybody drinking tonight?
A bad decision, most likely.
Oh. You had to shake it up first, which is a
I
little
didn't
weird.
shake it.
You did have to shake
Well,
it.
that's if I was pouring into a glass.
Did you shake it like a Polaroid picture?
Hey, yeah.
No.
Good follow-up, by the way. You didn't fucking miss
Fucking
a beat.
on
You
it.
didn't miss a beat on that
No, you
one.
didn't.
I'm a big Andre 3000 guy over here.
As,
all
as
right?
you
go.
should be. As you should.
I'm drinking a Castile Nitro Quad. It's a bad decision because it's 11%. I gotta get up early as shit for work before I go on vacation. This will maybe make it so I don't get up so early, but we'll find out.
Tomorrow will be a new day. Depends
Yes.
on when you get up.
When I wake up, yes.
A new day, yes it is.
Oh, yes. The nice part about my job is I can not show up whenever I want, but I can kind of show up whenever I want. So I can't, but I don't want to. I want to get up early. I got to get home, finish packing, so on and so forth. But that's what I'm drinking, and it's good, and it is strong. I can taste it.
Now you're leaving. Is it tomorrow or is
Thursday.
it the next?
In
It's
2 days.
it's in 2. It's gonna
Yeah.
be in Thursday. Okay. Yeah.
I will be on my way 17 hours from here.
God bless you, man. Now, are you Are just you two driving down? You and Allie?
Yeah.
Okay, nobody else in the Pittsburgh area going down with you? Okay.
No. None of that shit.
Yeah.
Now, we're going to be listening to some cold case audiobooks or something like that and just kind of vibing with the ride. One of my favorite parts, I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite parts too, because I enjoy driving, and I enjoy road trips, but the part I enjoy the most is watching the environment change, right? So, like, it's one thing, like, to go from, here in Pittsburgh to, like, somewhere in West Virginia or something. There's some changes, yeah. But to go from Appalachia to, like, the South.
Yeah.
Things are going to change. Like, just the foliage will change. Going from mountainous area to, like, wetlands.
Yeah, it's a completely different vibe, especially going from here to Florida. There's a lot of that.
And if you're paying attention enough, you can start you can see it happen. It just almost happens out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, fuck, where'd these trees come from? These trees aren't in Pittsburgh, So I'm looking forward to that. And I'll be gone for 11 days. It'll be glorious.
That's a hell of a trip, man. That's a legit
awesome.
trip. 11 days is serious.
Yeah, I need time off.
Don't we fucking all, man?
I need time off.
Yeah.
My job is burning me out. I need time off. But, when it's not burning me out? This fucking podcast. And this topic.
And your beer.
Is not, it's going to drunk me up is what
it's either
going
to keep you awake or it's going to you're going to hit the
fuck
wall
me up,
hard.
yeah.
So I have this weird thing that when I drink exactly 2 beers, no more,
You gotta
no
keep
less. If I drink 2 beers, I will be passed the fuck out when I get home within 90 seconds of my head hitting a pillow. 1 beer doesn't affect me like that. 3 or more doesn't affect me like that. But when I hit 2, that is just like it's almost like I'm taking a fucking sleeping pill. And I'm not drunk, not passing out. I just get really tired. Like, I don't know if it's just the right amount to, like, relax me or not or anything.
I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah. So
It's a little weird.
what are you drinking, Jeff?
I am drinking.
All right.
It's a little weird.
Now that it's only 2 every
you.
time. I'm drinking Fruit Rush, which is
There's only 2 Sith, and that went pretty well for them for a long fucking time. No more, no less.
always 2 there are. It's a blueberry watermelon shandy, which is like a lemonade beer.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
It sounds disgusting. I'm sure it's good.
It's very lemony.
You've been on a beer, like, fucking tour this summer, dude.
Yeah,
Like, if
I have
any
been
of,
drinking a lot.
if any of you guys or girls, our dear sweet, sweet listeners, follow Jeff on his socials, almost like 2 or 3 times a weekend, there's a different brewery he's hitting up. I didn't even know there were that many that fucking existed
I was at
in this town.
4 breweries on Sunday.
That's
Jesus
impressive.
Christ.
Yeah, we took our daughter to camp out east.
I thought you were going to say we took our daughter to the brewery and got
no.
it fucked up.
And we're like, well, there's these spots that are on the way back, so we just made a sort of a tour of it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Occasional listener of the show, Mike Anaskevich. One of the things that I never would have imagined him to kind of be this way, but like, we try to be pretty outdoorsy. We go hiking, kayaking, we like to do a lot of trips, but man, everywhere we go, and he does a little more of this than I do, he will find a brewery somewhere in that area and make sure to celebrate the hike with a brew from a local microbrew.
It's cool.
Yeah,
I respect that.
We've gone on a couple of trips together this year. Every one we've found someplace. He found a fucking mountaintop meadery in the middle of we had no internet signal or at all, no cell phone signal, nothing in the middle of the mountains of West Virginia. This motherfucker found a mountaintop farm, which was one of the coolest places I've been to. Healthberry Farms, everybody. I'm going to give them a shout out on the podcast. So for our dear, sweet Australian listeners,
they don't get internet, so they can't listen.
Well, apparently they have it up there. So actually, one of the things we talked about when we were up there is, are you on the network? He's like, we are now. Like, originally, though, he wasn't. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get all these solar panels, though, and, because we get some good sunlight up here. And like,
there you go.
Fuck, man. Yeah, it's good life.
Shout out, Mike.
Yep.
Good man. So, here we are. I admitted off the air before we started recording.
Drinking Oberon American Wheat Ale.
He's drinking beer.
I am. I'm drinking Oberon American Wheat Ale. So
there you go. Is it good?
Don't drink 2 and fall asleep.
He might.
Hey, Jeff.
We got a fucking show to do here.
Jeff.
Come on.
Fuck!
And he's done.
Ah, shit.
It's like the Royal Rumble all over again. It's
Oh
just
my
fucking-
god. Yo,
just
this
fucking
motherfucker will never live that
I
shit
just
down.
fucking disappeared. 20 wrestlers in.
Just gone.
Nowhere to be
There's
He
found.
has been
Listen.
eliminated.
Folks, if you ever, please listen to this episode. Because that was a hot mess episode. We got fucking trashed.
Yeah.
And it was thankfully we were remote recording, so none of us had to drive, technically.
That's why I had to leave.
Yeah,
that's
that's
why I had to
go
fucking
somewhere.
drive. We were going because that was during COVID.
Yeah.
That's when I was sick, and we couldn't do Christmas with like either of our families. So that was the night that like I didn't plan it this way, but that was the night that like Steph's like, we're going to my parents to celebrate Christmas. I'm like, I'm fucking 20 wrestlers deep into the Royal Rumble drinking game. She goes, if you get to 22, I'm going without you. I'm like, well, fuck.
I think that because I wasn't driving anywhere, I was pretty sure we were doing the Rumble drinking game, which please in the archives listen to that
That's a
episode.
good ass time.
I'm pretty sure I was drinking booze, like straight up liquor.
Yeah, you were.
I was
going-
getting
you were going
fucked
hard. Yeah, you're like, I don't have to go fucking anywhere. I'm just going for it.
I don't remember. I remember bits and pieces at the end, and I remember us talking after it. But I'm pretty sure I was trashed out of my mind. I'm pretty sure I threw up that night. I'm pretty confident I did.
Yeah, because that was not
The
a
Royal Rumble often leads to that.
Yeah.
Well, so, when we typically do the Royal Rumble drinking game, we do it like as the Rumble's happening. And, traditionally that's been on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Right? So a lot of us, and for those that never would like actually do the real drinking game with us, they didn't understand you had to take Monday off. Like, I remember some casualties of war that were just strung upon the floor and the couches at the estate. They didn't know what hit them, and like next year, like I fucking took Monday off. I learned, right? But like this one, when we did the one for the podcast, we did it on a Saturday, and we started at like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Well, we started super fucking early.
We really did.
Well, purposefully.
Yeah.
And the best part about the best part about Dave disappearing is he didn't say fucking anything. He didn't say, "All right, guys, I'm out."
1 second he was there, and then it was just
He
his
just was
screen was
gone.
black, and he was fucking gone.
I'm like, this fucker just left.
I got the you're fucking driving, right?
And Dave's like,
that
fuck.
was kind of it,
Yeah. That
I was like,
good
we got 3 more wrestlers, and she's like, no, we don't.
You got 3 more.
It was time to go, man.
And we never did that again. We will do that again one of these
Oh,
days.
we will. Absolutely.
Definitely will.
Yeah.
But speaking of sports entertainment, this is my first. Okay, I think this is a really cool fucking idea. All right. Because I was trying to. Okay, the biggest reason why I suggested this, under the hood, I didn't really say this to you guys, but the biggest reason is I felt like all of our topics, they're very structured in a way that it's easy for us to kind of digest, research, come up with our thoughts and opinions, and then release it to the wild. And I was thinking, like, as I drop my glasses, because I'm 2 beers in, what can we do to kind of shake that up?
Okay.
What can we do to shake that up? So my first one I thought would be kind of cool: sports entertainment versus pro wrestling. Right? Because there's a difference, right? And not like, oh, what's the difference? Well, there's a clear difference. But who's the best sports entertainer you've ever seen? Who's the best pro wrestler you've ever seen? Who's your favorite sports entertainer? Who's your favorite pro wrestler? And that's
Yeah, because you have to think about that in a different lens.
It forces us to approach a topic a little differently.
Okay.
Because it gives us the option to go, okay, well, maybe the greatest sports entertainer of all time might have been Hulk Hogan, but maybe the greatest pro wrestler might have been Bret Hart. Or,
Somebody far more technical.
Yeah, but you can kind of spread that out, right? Who's, what makes a great sports entertainer versus what makes a great pro wrestler. I mean, they're the same exact thing, but they're not the same thing.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because, wrestling's one of those things where when you know. And it's easy to know who has it, and it's easy to see who doesn't have it. And the emphasis typically in that conversation is the entertainer.
The personality component of it.
Component is more than the wrestling component. However, you look at any of those wrestlers that would be up on that, that top tier of the entertaining aspect, they're all fucking really good wrestlers too. And
Maybe. Well, that's what I mean, though. That's the conversation.
But are
what makes
yeah,
you say
are
that?
they?
Who are these people you're talking about?
well, let's just go ahead and say Stone Cold, right? A lot of people would say that and I was watching something about this just recently, and I can't remember if it was, I think it was on YouTube, but somebody was talking about, no, it was Randy Orton. Okay. I think it was no, it wasn't Randy Orton. Somebody was fucking talking about this. Maybe it was after I watched a video about Randy Orton. Maybe it was Randy Orton. I don't fucking remember.
Did somebody get punted in the skull?
No, they were talking about like different people, and he said that one of the people that probably would surprise you the most in ring would be Stone Cold. You know, because you obviously have the visual of Stone Cold. You've got the persona. You've got the whole thing that happened with Stone Cold. But he's like, a lot of people don't realize that he was a great in-ring general and a great improviser.
Yes.
When you know, as matches went along, and he's like, you know, you have a lot of really, you had a lot of really good matches. You know,
But
the whole
to that point,
yeah,
he was far more technical with his in-ring capability pre-injury
Yes.
than he was post-injury.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Like the latter half of his career, like he was an entertainer 100%, but he wasn't that great of a wrestler.
He slowed down, and then the injury that it forced him to slow down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny, like you go back and you watch Stunning Steve Austin or The Ringmaster, or early Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was a bumping fucking machine.
Yeah.
He had that Memphis style, that bump all over the place as a heel, the chicken shit heel, getting chased around the ring by the babyface. Neck broken, it's a different story. He can't move quite that fast anymore, you know. But I think that's a good point. And again, this topic leads to those discussions. You know, who's a blend of both? Mm-hmm. I argue Kurt Angle's the greatest sports entertainer pro wrestler of all time. Like, I don't think anybody comes close to him with his actual wrestling acumen and his ability to be funny, serious, interesting, provocative all at the same time. I can't think of anybody else who had the skill that he had with the personality that he had.
I mean, how you could count on one hand the people that had the skill that he had. I mean, guy's an Olympic gold medalist with a broken freaking neck. Broken freaking neck.
Freaking
right?
neck.
One guy that I would say that I've always underestimated his wrestling ability, and you know, maybe he doesn't get quite the credit he should, is John Cena. In terms of what he could do in the ring. There are matches when you would put John Cena, I think we talked about Cena versus CM Punk. Mm-hmm. You know, when Cena gets into the ring with a wrestler, he can go with those wrestlers. I mean, there are times we'll be watching pay-per-views when he's having a big match, and he'll put moves out of his ass that's outside of the 5 moves of doom and everything else that he does. And you're like, oh shit, this guy can actually do some things if you give him the opportunity. He doesn't have to, because the entertaining side of John Cena is so strong that the in-ring performer doesn't always have to be there, because he's still going to be able to tell a good story and a good match, but he's never really needed to be that technically proficient. But when you put him in a ring with a bunch of different type of wrestlers, he can still have a good match with them.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
I think that John Cena is not a particularly great in-ring performer. He's a great entertainer in terms of the sports entertainment aspect, you know. But I think John Cena, those moments, to your point, where he pulls out a move that like it's Hunkin Rana randomly, or a fucking hip toss, or whatever the fuck, where it's like, oh, basic shit, cool, you can do that, I forgot. Look at his opponent, and typically it's somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing.
Well, yeah.
There's a reason for that. Because John Cena's not going to do that with just anybody.
Right.
Because he's not that guy. He's not that wrestler. You know what I mean? I don't think that... And this is no slight to John Cena. I think he's a great sports entertainer, and he's a very, very capable pro wrestler. Capable. But he's not even like top fucking 20.
I didn't say he'd be top 20 in ring, but I'm saying I think we underestimate his ability to wrestle.
Fuck. I don't.
I think
I fucking don't.
I think I would put The Undertaker into that same category. Because although he's agile for a big guy, he's not as technically sound. He's great in ring awareness.
Yes.
And his ability to bump and control the match and help put guys over. But at the same time, he's not, just like John Cena, he's not that technically proficient in the ring. But the character is what people are paying to see.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, he's an attraction.
Yeah.
And John Cena's an attraction, honestly. Just like Roman Reigns is an attraction now. He's becoming that guy. Oh, he's been that guy for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's sort of the sports entertainment versus pro wrestling idea I had. I think.
So speaking of wrestling attractions, how far does LA Knight go?
I don't. In today's climate, he'll get a heavyweight title run for sure.
Okay.
He's not going to be a Mount Rushmore guy.
No, I don't think so.
He's the Rock you have. He's the Rock you have at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not a huge fan of LA Knight.
Yeah, and I dig him.
I get why he's over.
Yeah, he's clever. He's popular, but he's. Kevin Nash said it best, man. Like, didn't we fucking watch The Rock's career already?
Yeah.
Like, it is actually like watching Dwayne Johnson. That's not an insult. People emulate the people that they appreciate. Yeah. That's a form of flattery, and I get it. And I'm not saying he's wrong for doing it. And I do think he's entertaining. I think he's funny, actually. But I don't know.
I mean, you can definitely feel the attitude influence on everything that he does. This goes back to what I kind of said, where when you know, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that doesn't know with him.
Jury's still out.
The jury's still out. Because I feel like when The Rock was doing it, I don't feel like The Rock was aware that he was doing it.
Well, maybe not.
I feel like LA Knight, when he's out there doing it, he's also aware that he's doing it. I feel like there is, I don't want to say it's not natural, but that's just kind of how it feels like to me. There's just some level of, I know, you know, I know, you know, and you know, I know, you know, and you're going to do it anyway. And I'm going to enjoy it, but I want to see him take that next step. And I like that he's so over. I like that they're not necessarily rushing him into that echelon, because they easily could ride that, House of Fire and ride that wave. But if you don't have the ability to sustain your success, which I don't know that he's anywhere close to that yet, it falls apart just as quickly as it gets there. And I don't know that you want to do that with him. So I like how they're slow playing this. What I worry about is his shtick going to be good enough to be slow played to the point that he'll still be relevant when he's in that conversation. I'm not sure about that.
It's going to be interesting to watch. Yeah, Somebody paying close attention, and like I said, it's clearly he's over, big time with the audience. I don't know about the merch sales; that's a big indicator, but I think he's got a shelf life. I don't know what his shelf life is. Every wrestler has one. But you're right. I mean, he is emulating The Rock. But in his defense, it's hard not to emulate somebody. Like, every wrestler, all the greats pick from other wrestlers. Yeah. It's just...
Yeah, somebody always looks up to somebody. And, there's definitely influence there. I mean, look at professional hockey players. Everyone has a Lemieux or a Yager or a Sid or Gretzky that they look up to and they try to emulate. I mean, it's the same in sports entertainment.
Yeah.
God, I was watching something the other day. It might have been a wrestling thing. It might have been a hockey thing. But they said, look for your heroes and fucking copy what they do.
Without a doubt.
Find what...
The formula works.
The formula works. And
you just have to be good enough.
You'll figure out certain things that works for you and then doesn't work for you. And you pick and choose those elements. But, when you want something bad enough, find people you look up to and just fucking copy what they do. And that's me with Herb Jones.
Oh, yeah. That's a compliment, but fucking weird at the same time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Heavy eye contact, a little bit of light breathing when I said it.
just the right amount to make it creepy.
Just enough. So what else you guys got?
Yeah. One thing that came up in our last episode was not Nintendo. That came up too, but
it's fucking
Nickelodeon getting the rights to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which got me thinking. The OG,
the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, which got me thinking, if we go back to our childhood, the 90s Nickelodeon shows.
Oh boy.
Like
Oh shit.
there's a whole sort of broad area there because we have the cartoon side like Ninja Turtles. We had Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude and
Hey fucking dude.
Hey
Nick
fucking
Arcade,
dude.
which is
Fuck Nick Arcade.
now available on Paramount Plus.
Fucking most ridiculous show ever.
Are You Afraid of the Dark? Legend of the Hidden Temple.
I was just gonna say Legend of
the stuff that was on Snick, like
Double
Are You
Dare,
Afraid
all
of the
that good
Dark?
shit.
And what were your go-tos back then? Because we all had one.
So here's the fucking thing with this topic. This is a broad ass topic, you son of a bitch. All right. It depends. Because it's as a kid, as a kid means from 3-4 years old up until like 17-18 years old, right? There's a lot of shit that we watched growing up.
Yeah, for sure.
We consumed things differently than. I mean, it's a very obvious overstatement there, but your television watching was unbelievably structured.
Yes.
And we got hit with it before school, after school, Saturday mornings, and if you were lucky, maybe Sunday. But I'm sure you guys had the same thing that I did. How many fucking TVs did you have growing up in your house?
Yeah. And at the same time, there was no, you can't hit the guide button on your cable box.
Nope.
It was, here's an actual printed TV guide that comes out every week.
The
Or
fucking
the
TV guide was a big. It was
or
the
the-
Bible.
That was a big fucking deal.
We had the new. So mine was newspaper. That's what we didn't really even get the TV guide.
Oh
We had a newspaper.
shit! I remember that shit.
But like we had one TV in my house for a pretty long time, and I'm the youngest of my siblings, so it was like fucking just clawing for scraps to get some specific TV time that I could watch my shows. And I was very fortunate that I had the like 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock block. And of course, all bets were off when Jimmy Mack came home. Because as soon as Jimmy Mack came home, fucking it's the news, and then Jeopardy, and then maybe we would watch like something that was on later in the evening that like my brother and my sister wanted to watch too. Right. But I mean, we really were like, I had a time limit that I could watch TV Saturday morning. I would have hockey sometime between 5 and 8 a.m. And I'd come home. Usually my dad would stop and we would like get McDonald's. I'd get like breakfast sandwich or something. And I'd watch my Saturday morning cartoons. I know that I had until about 11 o'clock because that's when my brother was going to wake up. And as soon as he woke up, he was going to come downstairs and it was going to be fucking college football. Now, I got very lucky, and I think I've said this on the show before. I got very lucky that my brother was into X-Men and Spider-Man. So when that 11 to 12 block had X-Men, the animated series, and Spider-Man, he would fucking sit there and watch that. But if he was up earlier, there's no way I was going to be able to watch some of that stuff. So, but it was a frenzy. It was a free-for-all for the TV for us for a while until we, got another one. So my watching was very limited and had to be very strategic, very pointed. And Nickelodeon for me was always kind of the third choice because I would watch Fox and I'd watch like the ABC cartoons when they were on. And then
Nickelodeon had Doug and
well,
Rugrats and Rocko's Modern Life.
Well, that was Sunday. Sunday was not really something that I had to worry about too much because, like, nobody in my family was really, like, down for going to church. So...
Fucking heathens.
Right? It's true.
Explains a lot.
It does explain a lot.
Damn it.
Fucking degenerate.
It's true. It's true. God have mercy on my soul. So, like, nobody in my family was really waking up on Sunday. Like, if Steeler games were on at 1 o'clock, that's when, like, shit got real for the TV. So I had that Nickelodeon block from 10 until 12 when Doug and Rugrats and Rocko's Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy were on. But I will say that the shows Hey Dude and Salute Your Shorts were absolutely my fucking jam. And then a special shout out to Clarissa Explains It All.
So, that's a hell of a thing. I'm going to answer your question. So with a real non-answer. Well, because here's the thing. You said, what was my go-to?
Yeah.
Because every 80s, 90s kid had go-tos, for sure. Kids today, I'm sure, have go-tos, sure. Because my sister was 78, so 70s kid, they had go-tos, obviously. But it depended on the day, right? I didn't have a go-to that
Because
was
everything was structured, yeah.
right? So I was very fortunate that I had a TV in my room pretty early in life, thank God. And I had cable. So it was like...
That's even more
That's
important.
a big deal.
That's a big deal.
I had Nickelodeon in my goddamn room. I had MTV in my room when I was in elementary school.
I had 2 channels because I had a TV that had, like, I just had to fucking adjust the antenna.
First TV I ever had was a
ears.
black and white
Yeah.
TV with the dial and the buttons. There were 2 dials and buttons. And the antennas, and it definitely fucking had aluminum foil on it. But then I transitioned pretty early in elementary school to like a color TV. I had that TV, no shit, no joke, until I was like 19 years old. That was my TV through all the years. But it depended on the day, because like Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, it was probably... Saturday afternoon, it was probably like the Hey Dude era. Because it was like those... They weren't bad shows, but you watched them because they were on.
They were the mid-card.
There was nothing
They were
else for
mid-card.
kids on TV at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
There was no Cartoon Network at the time. There was none of that shit. You know,
and
Yeah.
a lot of the main channels that would show content for kids, once like 5 o'clock hit, the programming was switching over to, what your parents would want to watch.
right. So Sundays, it was like Wild and Crazy Kids. Shout out
What
to
Wild and Crazy.
fucking Crazy
What Wild and
Kids.
Crazy.
Cuba Gooding Jr. Was it Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Yeah.
Yep, Cuba Gooding Jr. I watched the shit out of that
That was
show.
fucking fun.
I watched I still know the theme song in my head. Saturday nights obviously was Snick. Goes without fucking saying.
That shit was
Snick.
so good.
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
All that.
All that. Clarissa Explains It All. Ren and fucking Stimpy. All that shit. But then you had Monday through Friday, and if we're sticking to Nickelodeon still, if we're sticking to Nickelodeon, Monday through Friday, I didn't do a ton of Nickelodeon Monday through Friday. When I was young. I did like Monday through Friday, it was more like I catch something on TV, but it wasn't.
Whatever's on.
Yeah. But weekends, that was my Nickelodeon time. For sure, my Nickelodeon time.
Same, because we were watching Fox animation block
Exactly.
like after school every day.
Yeah.
Exactly. But
Oh,
God,
Fox dominated the animation block. Now, on Saturday morning cartoons, I would often have to flip between ABC and Fox because ABC had, Garfield and Friends, which I was, really big on. That was the 9 to 10 hour. Then it kind of switched over to Fox.
Gotta switch over to Fox for X-Men.
Well, we all know that
fucking
Dave does
Bobby's
not.
World.
He does not put X-Men very high on his list, so
It's fucking high on the list, dude. It just wasn't on the first tier.
it wasn't S tier, and it's an S tier show.
Yeah.
Jesus fucking
Yeah.
Christ.
If there was a tier above the top tier, that's where it would fucking be.
All right.
God damn it.
My Nickelodeon block was usually in the mornings, and I would say probably like the 10 to 12 o'clock if I had a chance. I'm thinking more summertime, because I remember a lot of times I would watch Eureka's Castle, right?
Yeah, that was early in the morning.
That was early in
yeah.
the morning, and it was the one show that like competed for me with like the
Unlocked.
Muppets.
Memories unlocked. Hold on.
I know.
The Elephant Show.
Yeah,
The
Sharon,
fucking-
Lois, and Bram.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Skimmermarinky Dink. All that shit.
Yep.
David the Gnome. Okay, so
Oh
okay.
shit, we just unlocked something on Jones.
That's the early shit.
Well, because I'm thinking, I forgot. Okay, so Nickelodeon, there was that period when I was super, super young.
Yeah, because they had Nick Jr.
They
then,
had Nick
just
Jr.
like they do
and
now.
we were young. I was young enough to watch Nick Jr. And I remember it was like midday shit was Nick Jr.
Yeah.
And I remember this show. I've asked people about this show. Very few motherfuckers remember this show. Okay? I couldn't tell you what the fuck it's called. I think it was called The Koala Show. Do you remember The Koala Show? Mm-mm. It was a weird-ass show. I don't know if it was from Europe or something, but it was about these fucking little koalas. There was a pink one, a little pink one, and like a gray one, and they were like brother and sister, but they were from another dimension. And they hung out with this little girl named Sandy, a little redhead kid. Does that sound familiar to you at all?
No.
It was old. It was an old cartoon. We're talking like, and they would take this little girl Sandy to their little dimension where the koalas were like the dominant species, basically.
Okay.
It was weird as shit. It was. I'm looking this shit up.
It
Hold on.
Sounds like you're fucking tripping.
Hold on.
The oldest show on Nickelodeon that I remember is You Can't Do That on Television. That's my earliest
That's OG
memory.
right
that
there.
is
The
real
slime
fucking.
was no
the
joke.
slime was no joke. But that was the first show that I really have like a conscious memory of that was on.
Noozles.
Oh shit! I know what you're talking
Boom.
about. Okay,
Boom. It was
all
called
right.
fucking Noozles.
As soon as I saw it, I knew.
No. That's the koala show.
Yeah.
This is Noozles.
Yeah, I know
There
what
you
you're
go.
talking about. Noozles.
That. Do you remember that, Jeff? Did you watch that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Memory unlocked. Okay, she was not redheaded.
They're beady ass. Her hair's reddish.
It's kind of reddish.
The beady ass eyes.
Yeah, it was Pinky was the pink one. I think her name was Pinky, actually. And they, like, would be born in little bubbles. That's how they were, like, gestated, the little koala people.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Sandy's... I think her name was Sandy. Her dad was, like, a military guy. He was rarely ever home. I watched the shit out of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't understand half of what I was really watching, but I remember it being... It was back in those days when
Blinky
cartoons...
and Pinky and Sandy. Yeah.
Was it Winky?
Blinky and
Blinky.
Pinky.
I was right. God damn. 40 years old. I still got it.
There were only 26 episodes.
And I'm pretty sure I watched all of them 3 times. But that show was, and there was another koala show, the one that you had on your phone. There was that other one that was like, it was like a little village of koala people.
Yeah.
I watched that one. There was a ton of those cartoons. And then there's David the Gnome. And I think you and I, one of us had this conversation about that last episode of David the Gnome. It was like the saddest thing you ever fucking seen. Where David the Gnome, his wife, and his best friend became trees. And the fox, Swift, cried. It was fucking depressing. So depressing.
I wonder why
they didn't
kids
play
grow
that
fucked
shit.
up.
It never they didn't play it on Nickelodeon apparently because it was so fucking sad, and they didn't want kids to like be heartbroken, like David the Gnome becoming a fucking tree.
Yeah, so some of the other shows was Franklin was on then. Gula Gula Island.
I didn't watch
with that
Gula
fucking
Gula.
like yellow chameleon thing.
I know I did not watch that.
Do you remember Little Bill? The Bill Cosby show?
I feel like that was early, later on though, right? Wasn't it?
It was in the 90s.
Right.
Shit's wild.
Mm-hmm.
It was late 90s in 99.
The other show that was on with Eureka's Castle that I would always check out was Muppet Babies. I was a big Muppet
That
Babies.
was another one.
I was a big
That
Muppet Babies
That was
guy.
a jam. Was it Nanny with the
Yep.
fucking legs? The
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
I never
like,
saw her face.
Never saw her face.
She was a fucking monster. That's my theory. She was a demon, most likely.
Could have been.
She was a lizard person.
Clearly. That's the only logical explanation.
She was not human.
There is some twisted shit that you can find online about what people were saying. It's like, I remember like, oh, she didn't have any like torso or anything because the Muppets were like imprisoned, and that was like their mental escape for dealing with their imprisonment. Like it was straight out of like the fucking movie The Room or something like that, right?
Yeah, there's some wild ass
conspiracy theories that was going on there. Last thing I'll say, because we could do like a whole episode on just Nickelodeon.
So
right?
that's the point of this episode.
Yeah. I love the Nickelodeon. No, the Nickelodeon game
That's
shows
how that
were
works.
fucking fire.
Well, so what was your favorite Nickelodeon game show?
Mine was it was all right. There was the one that I always wanted to be on because I thought every time I would see those kids on the show, like they're not even. I could fucking destroy them.
And you 100% wouldn't.
No.
We all thought the same thing.
Was Guts.
Fuck.
Do
Guts.
do you have it, Guts?
Yeah.
I was like for years as an adult, I tried to find the fucking piece of the aggro crag trophy that they would give away at the end, like thinking somebody was just gonna put that bitch up on eBay. Never did find one.
No. Could you imagine? Like going over to somebody's house and it's your first time over there, there's a dinner party and everything, and you walk into their living room and right there on the fucking mantle is a piece of the crag?
Instant respect.
Oh my god.
They become your best fucking friend.
Yeah.
Or mortal
Seriously.
enemy.
Yeah.
One or the other.
I think my favorite Nickelodeon game show was probably Family Double Dare.
Double Dare is my
Watching
jam.
mom and dad's
Yeah.
just fucking fumble around was so amusing to a kid.
Yeah, I had issues with like the giant nose that they had to like
They dig in.
That's where you
dig
draw
in
the
to
line.
find the boogers to
Yeah.
get the flag and everything, and they just be all covered. Like I that was for whatever reason on my mind. I'm like, you know what? That's the one I don't want to do.
That's the one.
That's the one. Yeah.
Was it
But
like
he'll
a giant cheeseburger?
He'll
or something
fucking
you
jump
have to
into
fuck
that
around
cheese
with?
pizza pool.
There we go. That's what it is.
Without hesitation.
Just immediately shit my pants just from all the dairy in
So
that
much
one.
cheese.
What was that shit made of? I never figured it out.
No, nobody knows.
Nobody
You didn't want
knows.
to get that shit in your mouth.
Not edible.
It probably
knows.
was toxic.
No.
But yeah, so excellent idea, by the way. That's on. I wrote it down on the paper. That's on my list. Mac, what you got?
All right, so in the last episode, guys, we were talking about favorite comic book inspired video games, and Jeff, you'd mentioned something at the end that the last one we actually talked about, which was Marvel vs. Capcom, right? And it got me kind of thinking, because we have two crossover fighting video game franchises that I feel we settle for. We have Marvel vs. Capcom, and we have Mortal Kombat versus DC. So what I wanted to ask you guys is, if you had a choice to flip this shit up a little bit, would you prefer to play a game Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, or would you prefer to play Marvel versus DC?
The fanboy in me would say Marvel versus DC. Just because, like, as a kid, growing up buying and reading comic books and collecting cards and shit, is like, you go through those scenarios in your head, like, what if Superman had to fight Captain America?
He'd fucking kill him.
Yeah. So, but do that in the style of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So, I'll answer your question. Easily, it would be Street Fighter versus Mortal Kombat, only because we technically, it wasn't a video game form. We did get Marvel versus DC way back in the 90s.
We did.
I don't need to see that shit again. What I want to see is Liu Kang and Ryu go toe to toe. I would love to see Ryu have a finishing move.
Oh shit.
I would love to see
What would it be?
Blanca's
Yeah,
finishing
what would it
move.
be?
What would it be?
I assume he'd burn you alive with his fucking fireball. Something, or he'd do a hurricane kick and snap your neck and rip it right off. Something like that. Or a Shoryuken where like he uppercuts through your fucking sternum.
Oh,
Yeah, and just rips you in half.
that's brutal.
I would. There's
And then catches you on
to
fire with
me.
his fireball.
There's more money and interest in Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter because of how different they are.
They are very different.
Yeah, it's hard to cross that over because stylistically,
Totally
it's so different.
But man, it would be great.
I feel like in whatever iteration of these games we would choose, I feel like it would have to be in the Mortal Kombat style. Because I feel like if I'm gonna get this, I want the brutality.
You want
Yeah,
finishing
I don't
moves.
want the Street Fighter
Like
version.
if I'm getting
Yeah.
Marvel versus DC and I've got Batman fighting Iron Man, I want to see what kind of fucked up shit Tony Stark's gonna do to Bruce Wayne when he finishes him. You know?
So anyhow,
Just put a pin in that.
let's-
Playboy
let's-
philanthropist right there.
let's move on, folks. But yeah, I think that would be cool to see. And actually, as far as you could really move forward with that question in terms of a topic, like not necessarily just this one or this one, or how about what would you like to see in a video game format, as a fighting game.
Well, and I think that's kind of where this topic would go, is that, just branching off of that idea, what would be the fighting game you would want to see?
We have to
What
keep
kind
it
of-
within the confines of fighting game franchises.
Right.
I would like to see, and this is weird, I would like to see Eternal Champions from like Sega fucking Genesis and Killer Instinct.
Oh, fuck.
Because they're both brutal fucking franchises, violent franchises. Eternal Champions, it was Eternal Warriors.
No, Eternal Champions.
Eternal Champions, where it was a violent game.
Yeah, it was.
It was
I love
very
that game.
in that Mortal Kombat vein, brutality. Watch fucking full gore, and that weird dude had the bone hands.
There's the fucking guy who, like, the stage fatality where he threw you up on the cross and burned you.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
I think that would be a good game to play.
It was awesome.
But it would be better if it was all sprites. I'm down with that.
Where would you toss
How
Soul
about that?
Calibur in this, Jeff?
I don't know.
Could you imagine if
Put
they
it in
did
there.
like a Saturday morning kart? So you know how like we have Mario Kart and they have all the little off versions of Mario Kart? Could you imagine like a Nicktoons version of Mortal Kombat or like a Saturday morning cartoons version of Mortal Kombat? Like fucking Garfield really shows Odie who's boss and just fucking when he puts Nermal in the box, he just
poor
like,
Nermal going to
like
Abu
Garfield
Dhabi.
does like he instead of like sealing it, he just puts nails through it and just like destroys Nermal and like his blood just pours
tapes
out.
it all out, tapes
Yeah.
it up.
And just Nermal suffocates.
Shit's getting dark, folks.
Yeah,
Shit's
know.
getting
went
dark.
to a real dark place there.
No, I'm just saying, like that's you know there's a lot of things you could do with that. I think a lot about having Marvel involved in that type of game because like I would love to see Marvel character fatalities. I'd like to see what Thor would do to somebody really if he had the opportunity to. I'd like to see because like with Mortal Kombat, they always have those side characters for DLC, and they brought in Homelander.
Yeah.
They've had the Ninja Turtles, they brought the Terminator, and all sorts of other characters into it. And I just think it'd be interesting to see that from a Marvel perspective.
I agree.
Word.
So I have another one, and it's wrestling related.
Okay.
And I wanted to kind of challenge how we do this. So hear me out. We do pay-per-views. We've done like maybe like our favorites, but it was the dream feuds that really spurned this idea in my head.
Yeah.
Because I really, and folks, if you haven't listened to that episode, if you
Great
like wrestling,
episode.
please listen to it. It's a lot of fun, and I think it'll get your creative juices churning a little bit. But to churn them further, as opposed to covering a whole show or a particular genre subtype of wrestling, I call it hyper focusing. We pick a single match and we break it the fuck down. It's got to be a good match, something it doesn't have to necessarily be iconic, but like a great match. We break it down, not move by move, but just break down the match itself, the build up, what it is, why it's important, why do you like it, why don't you like it, the participants, or a moment in wrestling history. It doesn't have to. We could fucking break down the fucking infamous Mike Tyson shove with Steve Austin and the Attitude Era really starting. We could break down a Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan. When Goldberg beat him for the WCW title on Nitro.
What about
the Georgia Dome.
What about Hulk Hogan versus his hairline?
We could do that too.
Still losing that battle.
But
I've never seen somebody lose their hair for this long and yet still have hair.
he's figured out some sort of demon magic.
There's something not right with that, right? Like, have you ever seen a picture of Hulk Hogan with a full head of hair? Ever?
Technically, yes. High school.
I've never even seen it.
I've seen high school.
I don't believe it exists.
He's always.
I believe he came out of the womb with that hairline. Like the mom was waiting for it to happen,
just
but it was
very
just like fucking
defined,
flow,
yeah.
and he just had a do rag somehow.
It actually grows down. He just cuts it back to that because that's just everyone expects it at this point.
But I think that it'll be a lot of fun to kind of just pick something and just really break it down and have fun with it. Because we could spend 3.5 hours talking about a single pay-per-view, which means we could probably spend an hour and a half on one match.
We're still talking
Yeah.
about Halloween Havoc.
Someone is.
Yeah, that's where Noah is right now.
He's still recording that damn episode.
Noah never shut the recorder off. He just leaves it downstairs, and it's always on. And just when he has time, he just goes down and just keeps talking about different monster trucks that happen to show up in that pay-per-view.
Yes, but I think it'll be a lot of fun to kind of do something like that.
Yeah.
You pick we all decide let's. I don't know, just because I always think about Bret Hart matches. Bret Hart and Steve Austin WrestleMania 13, and we just break that match down. Why? What? The spots? Well, bits and pieces. I think it'll be interesting. It'll be a bit of more of a challenge for us, I think.
Yeah, because when we do one of our big pay-per-view shows, we gloss over the technicalities of the match.
Yes,
and we're just
typically.
like, well, here's the backstory, here's the feud, here's a couple spots that we liked or didn't like. Here's where they botched that. Here was the finish. Here was the result. But when you really start getting down to the nuts and bolts of it, it's it's very technical from start to finish. And when you start to break it down like that, it's a really interesting concept in terms of where we could go with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, me too, which is why it's on the list.
Put that shit on the list. All right, my next one, something I think would be fun to talk about is, when we growing up, even as kids, we were exposed to stuff that our parents were watching or stuff that our grandparents were watching. And there were a shit ton of game shows that were on at that time. And I think it would be fun to sort of go down that path and talk about what your favorite game shows were. But if you think about all the people who hosted game shows from like the 70s all the way up and to today, there's some really interesting and unique personalities in there. And I think it'd be fun to go down that path of what's your favorite show, but what's your stack rank list of game show hosts? You know, who's on the Mount Rushmore of game show hosts? Is it Steve Harvey and his fucking mustache? Is it Bob Barker? Is it fucking dude from the Love Connection?
Hold on. So wait, okay. I'm glad you mentioned Steve Harvey. Yeah, because we've mentioned this on the show before, folks. We were part of like a group chat, or a part of a couple of them with like typically the same like 3 or 4 people.
Yeah.
We
or
just
two.
we shuffle one person in and out. Of each
I always
one.
think it's funny when the one person's like, you know what, why don't you guys just talk about this in the other group chat that I'm not a part of?
Because I know there is. But what was it? Somebody was. I think it might have been Noah's brother, Drew, who's on the show before. He put that YouTube video of Steve Harvey. Did you?
Yes.
What the?
It was fucking
I
bizarre.
don't know if I actually.
It
had a
was
chance
one
to
of the
watch
most
it.
David?
bizarre things I've ever watched.
I don't know if I can articulate to you.
It was on Family Feud, wasn't it? It wasn't a feud.
It was an animated thing. It started with Family Feud, and he was waiting for a response, and then it like went into his mind of like how things
I
process.
almost want to pause and let you watch it and come back to it.
Which chat is it in? Is it in the text chain? Is it in the Facebook chain? Is it the Instagram chain? We have too many going, and it's all the same.
know.
All I know is I watched it and I felt so fucking changed from it.
It was fucking.
Felt so
it was-
fucking changed.
It was fucking. It's fucking bizarre,
don't
man.
know
Really?
what the fuck I watched.
Yeah.
But hold on,
Okay.
God damn it, hold on. I at this point, I can't not do this now.
Was
Because,
this recent?
Yes.
Yeah.
God damn it.
How recent?
Like within the last week and a half maximum.
Okay, hold on.
Hold on, because I watched it and I'm like, what in the shit am I watching? Why am I watching this? And it kept going, and I'm like, why did you send this? What's wrong with you?
It was definitely Drew that sent it.
It was 100% Drew.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there was no context. He just sent it. That's what fucked me up about it. Oh, how long ago? It's like it was definitely last week or week before.
I'm looking.
And I definitely put a little picture response up because I didn't know what the fuck else to really say to it.
And there's the stuff on them bringing about the Altered Beast franchise.
Jesus Christ, yeah. There's a
Just
reason.
need to throw that out there.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna search my.
Drew Brown, is that where you fuck?
All
I
right.
mean, holy goddamn fuck!
Can you
what the
pause this for a
fucking fuck?
second?
What the fuck, man?
Yeah. We had to pause this, so Dave had to watch what I was subjected to.
First off, that was the longest 2 minutes and like 20 seconds of my life.
I'm surprised you didn't watch it when the rest of us did.
I completely missed it.
Yeah.
Like I completely missed that part of the
Yeah,
conversation.
if you want to know what we're talking about, go to YouTube and just type in the Steve Harvey stare. And look
No,
for an
don't,
animated video.
don't.
It's
you-
3 minutes you can't get back.
Ever, but it's fucked up.
and-
It
it'll
is.
fuck with your head.
There's no reason for it. There's none.
And I'm like, if I had to watch this shit and Jeff had to watch this shit, Dave's gonna watch this
There
shit.
are definitely times I've sent you guys things like if I have to see it, you do too.
There's no one
But like
seeing this.
that's gonna. It's like fucking Cronenberg fucked the end of a Stephen King horror movie and put Steve Harvey's mustache in the middle of it, and nobody asked for it.
Nope.
No.
I don't know who did.
But you know what's great? The fucking stare. We've
my
all
God.
seen it.
Oh, yes.
If you've ever watched Family Feud, you've seen the stare.
He just goes to another world when he's staring.
It's pretty bizarre.
Fucking eldritch fucking
He's
gods.
seeing through dimensions.
I was damn near Cthulhu.
It's like the fucking Wingstop video. That chick who's so fucking hungry
Yeah.
and all she wants is Wingstop.
Fucking drive.
And there's a point where like she like turns around, she goes, "What did you eat today? You shut up, you fucking squid. What did you eat today? I ate nothing. Nothing."
The
and they pause
rage.
it. You pause it, you can actually see through parallel dimensions of hers equally being hungry and angry.
Within her eyes, you see Earth 616.
Yeah. She just wants them wings. That's
She
it.
does. And you know what, guys? I fucking found one. I did.
Oh.
Pleasant Hills.
Well, goddamn.
Like right next to Atria's. Like right off 51.
It's right there, actually.
It's right there. And like,
man.
because like when I saw that, I'm like, I've seen commercials for Wingstop. Like, does you guys ever have it where like there's a fucking like there's a Hardee's commercial?
I've never been
Yeah.
to a fucking
Carl's
Hardee's.
Jr.
I don't know too
There
many
ain't
people
nothing
with
There's a
around.
Hardee's or a Carl's Jr. commercial on, and you're like, there's no fucking Hardee's
Like,
or Carl's
how
Jr.
dare they
in
play these
Pittsburgh.
commercials in our area?
Listen, Hardee's, Carl's Jr., if you're Wingstop, if you guys are all listening, send us some food. We'll talk about it on
Can
the
I
show.
tell you, I actually did have Carl's Jr. once. Last year, my wife and I were on our way to Myrtle Beach. We went to one of the rest stops. There
Yeah.
was one there. I was not impressed.
I think that's the only Hardee's I've ever been to is at a rest stop. But like,
Yeah,
there's,
that sounds about right.
yeah, there's really nothing like that in the
Oh,
area.
fuck. No, I'm full of shit. No. It wasn't in the rest stop. It was, when we stayed at the hotel, it was in Virginia. Randomly, I was trying to find somewhere to eat, and we were just like, it was like off the highway sort of situation. It was at a hotel, and there was like, there's a Hardee's. I went, oh, I'll go there.
Yeah.
Again, not impressed
Yeah,
with the food.
the only
The
thing there
commercials
was,
look so
yeah.
much better.
Well, Jones, we had a real life experience of that with Sonic. You remember?
Kind of.
So like,
Remind me.
you and I are roommates.
Yeah.
It's fucking Easter Sunday, and we've been seeing commercials. We've been seeing commercials for Sonic on TV all the time, and
Yes.
like, there's no Sonic anywhere nearby. So it's Easter. We both ate with our families like really early. Like, that's one of the things that I've always kind of been concerned about with holiday meals. Like, I know certain people in your family eat earlier in the day and you're cooking all day and stuff, but nobody ever eats a fucking holiday meal when you're supposed to eat the goddamn meal.
Fucking
right?
eat at 1.
Yeah. It's like,
eats dinner at 1.
It's Thanksgiving, and we're going over to your aunt and uncle's, and dinner is at 2. I'm like, who the fuck eats dinner? That's late lunch.
You mean we're having lunch at 2,
We're
right?
having lunch at
That's
2.
what you're saying?
No, that's going to be dinner, and we're not eating anything for the rest. Like, you go to somebody's place to eat dinner, you didn't buy any fucking food to eat that night.
No.
Your fridge is empty. And at 7, you're going to be fucking hungry.
Yep.
Right?
You better take a plate home.
No, because they a lot. I mean, I don't know if it's like a lot of other people's families like this, but there was always a point. They got a point where my family's like, no, we're keeping the leftovers. We fucking put the work in. You're not getting a plate to go home.
That's
I
real
mean,
fucked up.
There's not enough leftovers for everybody in this goddamn family to get a plate to go home.
I don't know how. I mean, I can't speak on behalf of your family in that regard. My family, your ass is taking a plate.
Yeah.
You're taking more
Yeah,
than one.
I never
For
had.
you,
I never had that. You're not allowed to
your
have
girlfriend,
leftovers.
your
so there,
girlfriend
yeah.
a second time.
Yeah.
You for next week.
Yeah.
We
Here's
are
2 weeks worth of fucking turkey
we
and
are
mashed
not
potatoes.
we are
Yeah.
not getting a plate to go home. Like they're not making enough food to
That's
feed everybody
really mean,
twice.
man. That's-
I'm not saying it isn't.
That's really fucking mean.
Because-
You're not getting a compliment. We don't like you.
Yeah, you get the fuck
don't
out of
get a
here
fucking
with your
plate.
second.
You got a serving.
I hope you might. So
You know what you're gonna get? You're gonna get cranberry sauce.
for the members of my family that
No
are
one
listening to
likes
this
cranberry
podcast.
sauce.
For the members of my family that are listening to this podcast, and first off, if you're listening, what the fuck's wrong with you? Go find something. Go find anything else better to do with your time, unless you've got this on in the background and you're dusting.
But tune in next week because we need those numbers.
Yeah, we do need those numbers, so
Yeah.
make sure you put that on next week. But you know what you did.
You gave
know.
me cranberry sauce on the
Yeah.
way home.
You told him no, the fucking turkey.
No, you're sitting there at 11:30 at night making a turkey stuffing and mashed potato sandwich with cold gravy, and I'm not getting shit. No. So, anyways,
It got real personal.
well, I mean, Jones, we both had the experience
Yeah.
where we were at our family's freezer, not like together in individual families. We got back, and like we both ate at like 3:00 in the afternoon. So it's 8:00 at night, and I'm like, what are we gonna eat? We got nothing to eat.
Nothing to do.
Nothing.
Oh, we had something to do. Find something to eat.
Yes.
So we go on, and the only fucking place we can find that's open is Olive Garden. That's it. So
That was
we go,
awkward.
well, let me get to it. So we go to Olive Garden, and we roll in, and we don't know exactly what time they're closing. We just know that, it's Easter Sunday. Pretty sure they're closing at 9. We got there at like 8:45. And it was literally one of those things. Now, if you guys have ever worked in a restaurant, you know what you do. You know what happens when somebody rolls in after you've already got the kitchen cleaned up and shit's put away, and they're just going to roll in and be like, oh, well, technically we're still open, so technically we still have to give you food, even though everybody wants to fucking leave.
Yeah.
So we walk in and like you could literally hear the staff in the back go,
Yep, pretty much.
so, the hostesses were even pissed off we walked in.
Yeah.
So, we're like, you know what? We don't need to sit at a table or anything. We'll just like go to the bar or something, or we'll order some, we'll go to the bar, just try to be quick about this and everything. And like we had the feeling like it was waiting. The end of that movie, when like the people walk in and the chefs are all back there going, "No, God," and they're like spitting on the food.
Motherfuckers were like peeking around looking at
They
us.
were
They were looking.
That's
at
a
us.
real comfortable
They
feeling.
were peeking their heads out of the back, looking at us around the corner, smiling and pulling their heads back in. And Jones and I looked at each other and said, and I quote, "We are leaving."
We're getting the fuck
And
out of here.
this was the most fucked up thing about the entire experience. They were trying to tell us not to leave.
Yep.
They were actually pleading with us to stay so they could do fucked up things to our food for showing up at 8:45.
There's no proof of this, but I feel confident that's
Yeah.
the case.
I feel very confident that at
vibe
the end of
checks
their
out.
lives, when they're standing at the pearly gates and they're being judged, that's fucking coming up.
Dave McDonald, Herb Jones. Listen,
I mean,
listen, St.
it
Peter.
seems like you were kind of asking for it in their defense.
We realized, so we left, and that ended up being a fucking journey to try to find a Sonic. 'Cause
Just
they're like
somewhere
two in
to eat.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And we got there and they were closed, but we were still kind of like focused on the Sonic. And then like the next day or a couple days later, we actually went and found one, and we drove through the fucking Shire to get there.
I still have that picture
I do
somewhere on
too.
Google Drive.
Yeah, we ended up in fucking Hobbiton, everybody.
And we almost drove off a fucking like a overpass or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Almost, not saying we would have died, but your car would have been wrecked.
Something bad would have happened to the car for sure. Yeah, but yeah, that's why you don't go to Olive Garden at 8:45.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a bad idea. They will.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they will, but they probably will.
Yeah.
Somehow we got from Steve Harvey's stare to that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens. It fucking pierced through my soul, and shit came out. Talking about Nickelodeon cartoons unlocked shit for Jones. Looking at the Steve Harvey stare unlocked different feelings for me. I'm sleeping with a light on.
You're putting Cartoon Network
I'm gonna
on?
fucking. I'm not putting. No.
It's like watching Event Horizon.
I'm gonna fucking-
and you can't sleep at
Yeah,
it.
don't finish that second beer or you'll be asleep.
You can't.
It's like Event Horizon.
You can't watch Event Horizon as like a fucking 50-year-old go, I'm gonna go to bed after this shit. No. Flintstones is going on the TV. You're gonna keep the lamp on.
I'm gonna fucking doze off, and I'm gonna wake up, and fucking the Game Show Network's gonna be on. I don't know how that's gonna happen.
You're gonna wake up
The dog-
and Steve Harvey's gonna stare at
Fucking
you.
Maggie's gonna be sitting in the corner staring at the wall. And I'm gonna be wearing pants, and I don't know why.
What the fuck?
It's the opposite. You're putting shit on.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Anyhow,
Yeah, game shows.
yeah.
Yeah, game shows.
So I had another one. I think this will be good. Excuse me.
If you need a minute, take a minute.
Gotta wipe the tears away here. So I think this will be a lot of fun to discuss. And we all have talked about this separately offline over years. This is like probably like, at this point, like 12, 15, 13 year long conversation.
Okay.
How do we bring the mutants into the MCU? That is a fucking conversation. And a long one. So my idea is, like, we could just talk about it. Of course we can fucking talk about it. But we each come up with our way.
Okay.
And it doesn't it doesn't have to be I have like a 7-page explanation. Noah will do that. There was a period where Noah and I had like a fucking like Facebook chain conversation about like how do you bring the mutants into the MCU back in like 2000, like I sort of got like 11 or 12. And he had this very like long, he was like writing his own how he would do it. Before Fox was the franchise was bought by Disney. But I think it'll be cool to just sit down and just write like a few sentences, maybe a paragraph, whatever you want to write. If you want to write like 7 pages, I'm down with that. But it doesn't have to be much, but just discuss how would you, if you were in charge of the MCU, if you were Kevin Feige, we'll go with it. No, I don't think anybody knows how to pronounce it technically. I don't think he does. How would you? I already know how I would.
I like how Jeff's sitting there going, no, I think people do. Jeff just fucking... So again, you can't see this.
No, you can't.
If we had a camera set up, you would have laughed your asses off. But like Jones goes, Faggy, Feige, nobody knows how to... He doesn't even know how to pronounce it. Jeff just kind of like leans back a little
Like
bit.
a little
just kind
shrug,
of goes like...
Everybody knows it's
"No,
Feige.
I don't really know if
people
that's
how to
exactly how you pronounce it.
That's how he
somebody
says
just
it.
made
That's how he says it.
doesn't mean it's fucking true.
I don't know. Mike Bay calls himself Michael Bay.
Yeah, and he's also Mike Bay. What the fuck? I always find it amusing.
Faggy, faggy, tomato, tomato.
Listen, it could be Fagagi for all I know. I don't know.
Fugazi. Fugazi.
I don't fucking know. And again, I don't think anybody knows.
Duchikov
Just
me.
gonna just go...
Duchakovny, as she
Yeah,
puts
just
it.
gonna go off and... No, never mind.
Okay, then.
I was gonna go down a Wolf of Wall Street like tangent there. Fugazi, forgot like Mike Mike McConaughey. See now I got fucking Mike Bay on my mind. It's the fucking,
welcome.
It's the Steve Harvey stare.
My show's broken.
It's in there.
Folks.
It's unplugging and rewiring shit.
Do yourself a favor. Watch the video, and you will forever be changed like I was.
Do yourself a favor, ladies and gentlemen. Do it in the middle of the afternoon, outside with the lights. Make sure that like lights are on. You're in a well ventilated area.
Send it to your grandma.
No, you fucking.
Probably shouldn't do that. Probably shouldn't do that.
What do you have against their grandma?
I'm sure they're nice, lovely ladies, but send it to them anyhow. It'll wake them up.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, mutants in the MCU. I think that'd be fun. I think because you could do it so many different ways. I mean, there's not a
Could
ton,
go pretty deep.
but
Yeah.
there's a bunch of different ways. I think we'd all have fun with that.
I think what you do is you go back and you retcon Iron Man 1 and change the end credit scene and just have Nick Fury say, in a world with mutants and radioactive spider bite kids and everything.
You mean the one of the many ending credit scenes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For the original Iron
I would
Man,
say
yeah.
that's a good idea.
Retcon
It's unfortunate
that
they didn't fucking use it because it was perfect.
It's there.
It's fucking
been
perfect.
filmed. They got it ready.
And my last one, since we already talked about this during the Mama's Family debacle, just
Mario Kart / Mama Stanley.
yeah,
Yes.
favorite 80s, 90s sitcoms. I just think will be a lot of fun. Just digging in all of that.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at on my list. Kept it pretty short, four items that I thought, get the creative juices flowing with you gentlemen.
So
You guys have anything else?
I got one. So we're living in a different world now than we were living in even a month ago. We're living in a world where pink is the shade on everybody's mind. Because we're living in a world now of Barbie. It's Barbie's world, and we're just all fucking living in it. Now, I do not know. Jones, have you seen the Barbie movie?
Not yet, but my wife really wants to, so I probably will soon.
Jeff, have you seen the Barbie movie? I know the family
Nope.
went. I know the
My
girls
family
went.
did. I did not.
Okay. So, Steph and I did Barbenheimer. Now, early on in this Barbie phase that we're in, it's Barbie summer. We're just all fucking living in it. Let's just admit it. I was really early on this project in terms of just the quality of actors they got for this, the people making it. And I'm like, you know what? This movie's not going to be a fucking joke. Like, it's not going to be a throwaway. And I will tell you from seeing it firsthand, it is not a fucking throwaway. This movie is probably going to get nominated for Best Picture. I do think it's that good.
It's made $1 billion.
In 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Which is insane in today. I mean, that's Spider-Man No Way Home. That's like the last type of fucking huge movie like this that we had. And it's exceptional. I think it's a great movie. It's very well written. You guys are going to really enjoy it. I look forward to you guys seeing it. We might even need to just put Barbie on the list because, again, it's a cultural phenomenon that we might need to talk about. The movie is way better than it needs to be. Okay? Which brings me to my topic.
Okay.
Barbie's happened. And it has made $1 billion in 2.5 weeks. So, in a world that we live in with Hollywood and franchises and certain intellectual properties being what they are, what is the next movie adaptation from a toy that we had growing up, what was one that you would like to see? And if you had the reins on one of these particular properties, what would be the story you'd want to tell? So, I think you can have a little bit of fun with that. Because, to be honest with you too, everybody, this is going to fucking happen whether we want it to or not.
I hear Polly Pocket's on the docket.
Polly Pocket is on the docket.
Which is fascinating. I didn't know. I don't know much outside of that it existed. My sister was too old to be into it, so I was not subjected to much of it. But I didn't realize it was a big enough deal to do it, but apparently it is.
You know, it started with Transformers. We got Transformers. Whatever you want to say about those movies...
Dude, it started with He-Man, motherfucker.
Well, I mean... Well, yeah. But I'm saying in like the last 20 years. Whether you like those movies or not, and most people have very valid critiques of those movies, they've made a shit ton of money. Those Transformers movies.
There's a Transformers G.I. Joe crossover coming.
That's where I'm getting at, right? So we had G.I. Joe, and Jeff, you and I went and saw G.I. Joe, the original one.
We did, yeah.
We walked out of the theater being like, that didn't suck.
It was alright.
It was just an enjoyable, okay movie, right? Wasn't amazing, wasn't terrible, better than we thought it was going to be. Okay.
Then you tried to talk to Snake Eyes at the toy show, and he gave you a cold shoulder.
He did, motherfucker. Yeah.
Ray Park wanted none of Dave's attention.
No, that's why I stick to Hobbits and everything now. You know, so. You know, if you saw the Transformers Rise of the Beasts, they are hinting at a G.I. Joe Transformers crossover. And Hasbro's been kind of talking about this for a while because they have 6 or 7 properties that they would like to, you know, Silverhawks, Mask, some other things that I don't know too much about. But the wave of movies being made from action figures and toys growing up, it's happening now. It's coming. This movie just kicked that door open.
Yeah, it's the catalyst now because they saw how much money they made.
I caution anybody that wants to make a movie out of a toy property. I feel very confident in saying that Barbie is the exception because they really decided to tell an important story with this property that nobody was fucking ready for. There's no reason for it. It just happened, and it's really good. The rest of these are not going to be that way. Nobody's going to go ahead and get Polly Pocket and walk it out of the theater, you know, being moved, necessarily. Could be. I could be wrong.
And having not seen the film, but obviously being familiar with the brand, I think, as a vehicle to tell a story, Barbie is evergreen. You know, Barbie is Barbie.
Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't play with Barbie dolls, but I was around them a lot. I had a little sister. I had friends with little sisters. I had friends who just fucking stole the Barbie dolls and used them as, you know, characters in their action figure little things that they did.
Yeah, my dinosaurs ate the Barbies all the time.
So, like, Barbie is such an icon. It's beyond iconic. I mean, that's calling it iconic is actually kind of a disservice to it.
Yeah.
To the brand itself, how long it's been around and how important it's been
True.
to kids for a very long time, since before we were born. It's
the same thing with Lego.
Yeah. I mean, Lego's been around. I'm not sure when it came around.
Another movie that was made by 2 very talented filmmakers that was just way better than it needed to be.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm cautioning. You know, Greta Gerwig she's been nominated for at least 2 Oscars, whether writing or directing. Lord and Miller have won a fucking Oscar for Into the Spider-Verse. And they were also ceremoniously kicked off of Han Solo movie. Maybe they should have let them just make their fucking movie. Maybe that wouldn't have sucked. But, you know, you're not going to get Scorsese to walk in the door and make a fucking Dino Riders movie. You know,
Maybe.
Spielberg already made his G.I. Joe movie. It was called Saving Private Ryan. We're not going to get a second one with Duke.
Right.
Right? So, you know, you're going to run into a situation where there'll be an oversaturation of the market and not the quality of filmmakers to do it. But it's going to be a ride, man. We're going to see some good shit.
And a lot of bad.
And a lot of bad shit.
Yeah.
That's movies there. For every
That's-
Dark Knight we get,
That's the
we
biz,
get,
they say.
House of the Dead. I'll never forget that.
Silent
Everybody who knows me knows I don't heckle movies, but I heckled that one. Granted, I was drunk.
I still don't know what I saw with Silent Hill. when we
Razor
saw
blade
that movie.
vaginas.
I know.
You know what you saw.
Did I see that when I looked in Steve Harvey's eyes? Did that come
You
out
saw
of his
some,
mustache?
razors out of eyes. You saw some shit.
Literally,
you will never
if
unsee.
you ever saw the ending of Stephen King's The Mist, where fucking 2/3 of the original cast of The Walking Dead get into a car and they drive away and they run out of gas, and just monsters and shit have gone through the dimension. I saw that in Steve Harvey's mustache just now.
I don't know, and I've seen some weird shit in my day. I've seen some shit that will turn you white. Yeah,
I understood that reference.
be goddamn right you did. But watching that video, watching that Steve Harvey stare video, I keep saying it. It kind of fucked me up when I watched it.
2 weeks
Well,
from now...
the weirdest thing was, I mean, the video is super fucked up, obviously.
The weirdest thing?
The weirdest thing is,
You can
like-
pick just one?
No, someone's like, watch this with no context. They just put it there, and then we fucking watched it.
Like, it was like, "Bing!" and I went, "Oh, what's this?
Maybe I
What's
did-
this? Let me click on this. Oh, what the fuck
Maybe
is this?
I did watch it, but I fucking blocked it from my conscious memory.
I hope you did. And I'm glad you went back to it.
You're gonna come back from vacation in a couple weeks, and Jeff's gonna we gotta have a talk about Dave. He's had a complete psychological breakdown, and he just keeps saying "survey says" over and over and over again.
My wife, Steve.
That was so fucking strange.
That's the whole show, though.
That was very,
Yeah.
it was very liquid TV of it.
Yeah,
Yes,
like Aeon
it was.
Flux.
Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. The stuff like my brother would be like, watch this at 12 o'clock on MTV, and I'm like, why is Ren and Stimpy on at the same time?
Good question.
Yeah.
Jeff, you got anything left on the list?
No, I think I'm solid.
Okay.
I got one more.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Yeah. So, a big part of what we do in the podcast is nostalgia, right? Your favorite 80s cartoon villain?
I had to think about what you meant by that for a second. Negaduck. Well, he's not 80s though. He's 90s.
Okay.
You said 80s?
But we could do 80s, 90s. Like, there's a part of me that even, because, I've been tossing the idea around a little bit with different concepts about doing a, March Madness style bracket of, elements of 80s and 90s pop culture, whether it's, ranking songs and trying to do a bracket where we debate who would advance, what's the best song, who's the best villain, things along those lines. But, going into those 80s, 90s cartoons, it's like, this fucking love to the bad guys. We're always the coolest. What did we like? Who was most underrated, perhaps?
Underrated is a list.
Which one was overrated?
Negaduck, Shere Khan, my top two.
Okay.
I feel like Shere Khan was a boss.
All right.
Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget.
Well, fuck. That fucking hand. Yeah, Dr. Claw. For sure.
What if Dr. Claw and the nanny from the Muppet Babies were the same fucking person?
I would not be surprised.
You'd never know.
You wouldn't know.
That's a really interesting observation.
Isn't it?
I don't even know what to say to that.
Steve Harvey knows.
Goddamn.
Harvey, yeah, he does.
Inspector
and he's staring
Gadget,
at you
baby.
right now. Would you fucking like...
What if he was in the
Jones,
window
that's what I was
behind you
gonna
right
say.
now?
Oh my god, I would fucking piss and shit all over the place, Jeff.
We're 15 feet above the ground.
Exactly. Which would make
He's
it
Just
worse.
hovering out
Oh my
there.
god, I just got really fucking creeped out right now. Just
He's
thinking
just-
about that. Just because, here's the thing too, everybody. You have to watch this to see. This video is going to get a 40-person spike on my podcast. They're going to be like, why are the numbers going up? It is the worst. It is the creepiest fucking drawing of Steve Harvey.
Yes.
It's really unsettling.
Yeah.
And to picture that behind me
Yeah, right now.
right now.
He's looking at you right now.
Nope.
He's right there.
He's turning his... Yeah.
Not acknowling.
His beard is...
Not at all.
The whiskers are bristling.
If I just hear in the distance, ding, fucking gone,
Done.
dude.
He's
Oh.
done.
Like if I open up the
God.
window to go to my car and Steve Harvey's standing in the middle of the street, Jeff, I'm sleeping over.
Okay.
I might never leave.
You should probably leave.
No, not if he's, outside.
Listen, Steve's out there. You should probably.
Steve Harvey can only take one of us, and God damn it, it's not going to be me.
No, he's here for you, not for me.
No,
You just watch the. It's like that movie. It Follows.
Yeah.
You just watch the video last.
Yeah.
I'm sharing that with fucking everybody immediately.
I was the last person watching. I had to make sure you saw it.
Jones,
now it's gonna follow you.
I've never said this to you in my entire life, but you cunt.
I deserve that. Oh shit,
That's good.
You know, hey, you ever see It Follows? You guys see that? Mm-hmm. It's a good fucking film for what it was.
It's interesting.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, you should. It's good. It's creepy as fuck.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's not like Event Horizon, Cartoon Network creepy, but it's creepy.
That is Event Horizon to me, outside of The Exorcist, because The Exorcist should be number one on everybody's list, but that is the absolute number one most fucked up movie that I've ever seen.
You know what we're not going to cover on the show? That
Event
fucking
Horizon.
movie. I'm not covering that.
We could talk about fucked up horror movies. I mean, Halloween's around the corner.
It's true.
It is coming. We can try to cover Monster Squad again.
Yes! Don't fucking tease.
I have notes for that
Don't
from
tease
last
me.
year.
Don't-
that
I
we
don't-
never
Yeah,
actually.
we
I don't
never
even
actually talked about
I
it.
don't even need notes for Monster Squad.
Oh my
the fucking
God.
movie is just
I
embedded.
remember just watching, going, I don't remember this being not as good.
If fucking Steve Harvey's behind me, I gotta get the little girl from Monster Squad to do the fucking amulet chant to make sure he goes away. So it opens
one
up
of
the
the
portal. It
universal
opens up the
monsters.
portal, and all those fucking hands come through his mustache and pull him back.
Oh my god! You're gonna close your eyes tonight in bed and just gonna see it.
I don't want to.
He's not going to close his eyes.
I'm not gonna go.
You're just
I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and if you guys fucking cost me sleep again tonight, I swear to God,
oh my god!
I'll wait till you're about to fall asleep, and then I'm going to text it to you
I
again.
am not going to. I will see who it's from, and I'm like,
I'm gonna
nope.
start like fuck. I'll just screenshot it and then just start sending it to you.
It's the fucking video for like the Ring, you know?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
No. Okay. But I tell you what, that was a good time.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed this, and I hope that you guys did too.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to explore these topics in more detail and long form as their own episodes. A lot of great ideas. A lot of stuff to get us thinking and to create some entertaining shit
Yeah,
around
we have
it.
a Google Doc that is, I'm not sure how many topics are on it, but there's several dozen topics, I'd say.
You know, it's kind of funny about the Google Doc because we've covered, let's say just movies, for example. We've covered a lot of the really bad movies,
Yeah.
and we, for some reason, have completely avoided the good ones.
Well,
Like, we have yet to talk about a Star Wars movie. And if we do, listen, if we do one Star Wars movie a year that we do this podcast, it's still going to take us like 12 years to fucking cover all of them.
it's weird. It's not that I've been avoiding Star Wars, but it's an undertaking. I don't know how to approach it, right? Because there's the part of me that wants to approach a Star Wars film like very critically, because my thoughts and feelings on the Star Wars movies, the original 3, have changed over the years, and not for the better. My emotional attachment's still there, but they're not great movies. They're okay. They are good for what they are, but I don't think they're amazing films, which is why I think it's interesting when people shit talk the prequels and the new sequels. They go, these are all fucking the same to me at this point. They're all very poorly written
Yeah,
movies.
there's a lot of parallels.
They're just poorly written
Across
movies, but they're fun
trilogies.
sci-fi films. That's what they are. That's literally what they are, and I think we've reached a point in society where we put our fandom on a level that it's unhealthy and it shouldn't be, and we make these movies into something that's supposed to cure cancer, and they're not supposed to. I think that I do the same thing, to be fair. I'm not saying this is a thing that's not exclusive to me, but I think we all do it. Fandom is dangerous.
Well, you know, as you say that too, because another thing we wanted to talk about was Marvel. You know, and doing like an MCU, you know, film by film deep dive,
chronology.
right? And you know, I think you're seeing that with Marvel right now. I think the expectations were set so high over the original, like, you know, story that they wanted to tell with the Infinity Saga that it's almost impossible to try to follow that with something else.
And
Like, how do you
people-
build
Nothing's
upon
ever
that?
going to be as good as the first time.
Not anytime soon.
No.
Yeah.
Which
And-
is...
and what's crazy about it is that whole saga we got was with their B team.
Mostly,
We didn't even get the fucking A team yet.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Whoever gets cast in the Fantastic Four, they're already going to lose because it's almost you've had those movies already, and the best Fantastic Four movie is not very good.
Exactly.
The best Fantastic Four movie, as I've said before on the show, and Jeff, I know you've said it too, is actually The Incredibles.
Yeah.
But the expectations, well, Marvel has it now. Marvel's going to do it right. What if they don't?
Yeah. Look at what they've done with all of their TV shows of late. It's just like...
They don't have... I don't think they have necessarily the creative talent to pump out the kind of material... I don't think you're capable. I don't think anybody's capable of really doing that, you know. So, you know, the idea of them scaling back and
less is more.
Less, I think, will
important.
absolutely
Yeah.
be more for sure. Yeah.
I'm gonna stand on the other side of this because I kind of disagree. I think that barring one or two shows, I think the shows have been fantastic. Here's the thing, and it's all expectations. It's expectations, like you said. The bottom line is it's expectations. I never approached this shit. Look, the best MCU movies were decent. They're good. They were good. They weren't great. There were very few that were great. People like to say, well, Civil War. Civil War was okay. Winter Soldier, it was pretty good. But listen, this shit wasn't Schindler's List here. Not supposed to be. But people act like they are. Like, these movies are somehow fucking changing cinema. They're not. They're comic book films. They're literally comic book films. I approach all the MCU TV shows as if they're comic books.
I'm the same way.
I approach them like people like to shit on Miss Marvel, for example. Fuck, I think that show's fucking fantastic.
I loved it too.
Yeah.
And because comic books aren't just for one group of people. They're not just for one age group. They're not just for one demographic. They're for comics are for everybody.
Yep.
And I know that the first chunk of the MCU was for a very specific group of people, and these group of people feel like they're not being represented anymore. Well, move the fuck over a little bit, because comics are for kids, comics are for teenagers, comics are also for adults and for the elderly. It's for all people, and I like the idea that these shows lately have been so generous,
More broad,
with
yeah.
appealing, like the Devil Dinosaur, the cartoon. People shitting on that. It's a fucking cartoon
It's
for
actually
kids.
really good.
It's really
That's
good.
what I mean.
I watched
It's
it with
not
my
bad.
kids.
It's fucking
It's a
good.
kid show.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm not going to watch that. Don't fucking watch it then. It's okay.
It's actually really
I
good.
found it, and Steph's like, "What is this?" And I said, "Devil Dinosaur."
Yeah.
This
Moon
is
Girl
a-
and
this
Devil
is Moon
Dinosaur,
Girl and
yeah.
Devil Dinosaur. She goes, "It's a cartoon."
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah," and it's like for like towards kids. I said, "Yeah."
Yes, and it's okay that it is.
And she's like, "This is a Marvel thing?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "She goes, and you know about it?" It's like, "Yeah." Like, first off, it's a dinosaur. If it's a dinosaur, I know it, right?
Devil Dinosaur.
I know.
But that's my point. Like I people are like, oh, Marvel fell off in the last few phases. I feel like not everything can be Endgame. Not everything can be as serious and fucking like end of the fucking world level of seriousness as Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Well, see, and I think that that's been part of the issue that, I think they've been facing with at least these new slew of movies. I think what would have been really smart for them is to really pack everything in and make the movies much smaller after Infinity War and Endgame. Black Widow never should have had a big third act where the floating city fell from the sky, right? Thor, Love and Thunder never should have had a finale where all the kids had to join together and fight all the fucking demons that came in that movie. And
Why not?
because I think when you have something where you literally on screen had every single character you could fit on screen, they even put Howard the Duck in there. Most people don't even know Howard the Duck showed up.
That's unfortunate for them.
Right. But when you have that that build is so large, anything that you try to do after that, people will automatically be comparing back to what they saw in Infinity War and Endgame. And I think you automatically lose when you do that. So I think you need to, you can have certain things where characters overlap and you can have some team ups and stuff like that. But I think you need to make the stories more personal with those characters and keep the movie smaller and compact. For Black Widow, you could have just had her fucking fight Taskmaster at the end of the movie, and that would have been fine. Would have been. You didn't need anything else. She didn't have to go rescue the Red Room and do all this other shit. It could have just been a small like fucking room in the middle of like some town that nobody realized what it was. Maybe they just thought it was like a fucking ice cream parlor, and behind, widows are being trained. You could have done that, and I think it would have worked better.
But that's an Avenger.
I know, but I'm saying that's the whole point. But she is an Avenger, but she's not the powerful Avenger.
Doesn't matter. She's an
No,
Avenger.
I understand.
What's that even fucking mean?
No, I'm saying
she's
is
better
that-
than the Archer.
But I'm saying, like the Archer didn't have to fucking battle an entire squadron of archers. Like he just fought like part of the Kingpin's gang.
I mean, he did fight Kingpin. Right?
Yeah. But like in those, like Ant-Man didn't have to have a gigantic fucking battle. Like him just fighting off against Kang in that one thing was good enough for me. Eternals. Again, the stakes were so fucking big. Earth is going to be destroyed because the Celestial is coming out of it. Like, at some point when you just keep hitting your head against the ceiling, the fandom's going to be like, I don't want any more of that. I need a different type of story. It's part of the reason why I think No Way Home worked so well, is this, it was just 6-7 characters.
Yeah, but it was the end of the world. Well, kind of.
Kind of. But it's
Spider-Man. It's different when it's Spider-Man. He can do whatever he wants.
I just think that they needed to keep the stakes small.
I think Guardians 3 did a good job of sort of regrounding it. It wasn't so over the top grandiose scale.
Yeah.
And just the heart of that story was fucking
Black
phenomenal.
Panther ended up being grandiose too, because you had the Wakandans fighting against against Namor and the Atlanteans, right? And again, when everything ends up being a giant battle where two armies are facing off against each other, it wears thin. And then why do you fucking do Secret Invasion as a TV show? How do you not do that as a fucking 10-year movie?
So Secret Wars is going to be.
Yeah, because I was going to say, they already have their plan for that.
But then Secret Wars is the next 20 years. You do Secret Invasion after Secret Wars or something. I don't know. Anyway.
I think it's a lot of it's not one thing. I think we can agree on that. It's not one thing. I think a lot of fans refuse to acknowledge that they're burned out.
Yep.
I think that's
a
huge part. Burnout is a real thing. It's not just a thing you get in jobs. It's a fandom thing. And people, when you start, familiarity breeds contempt. And when you become so familiar with something long enough, and we've been on this ride for a long time, you can potentially start to resent the thing that you loved. I had this conversation fairly recently, and this is where I'm at on this. And this is my last opinion on the subject, at least.
This is a whole episode.
Yeah. So, and I kind of put this in the same pocket as Star Wars, right? Star Wars fandom can be pretty goddamn toxic for whatever fucking reason, because apparently Star Wars has cured all diseases for these people.
It's actually really toxic if you kind of look into some of the shit that's gone on recently.
That's what I mean. So,
yeah.
I err on the side of it's beautiful in a way, right? We live in a time as adults, not like little kids, but we can appreciate this because we know what it was like. We live in a time where there's fucking actually comic book TV shows that don't suck. And people can sit around and go, well, to your point, Mac, it was a little too grandiose for me, and that's cool. We have them, and they're not awful.
Yeah.
They may not be perfect. They're not fucking awful.
Right.
The fact that I can say with dead serious, there was an actual Black Widow movie, and it wasn't horrible, says a lot.
Yeah.
And people want to compare everything to Endgame, and we will always do that. Unfortunately, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, nothing will ever be that.
Yeah. I maintain we live in a time where we have so many options. I could just choose not to watch some of this stuff. And it's cool because there's so much of it. Mm-hmm. Because now I think, and maybe it's going to backfire on them. It's unfortunate because people are going to people. But I think it's awesome for me as a fan that there is Boom Girl and Devil Dinosaur, that there's Miss Marvel, that there's the Loki series, that there's the WandaVision series, that there's Moon Knight. There's more to come. There's so much that I can go, well, none of this is really super connected to the MCU, like the greater MCU, so I can just pick what appeals to me. Right?
Why didn't you say She-Hulk?
Oh, I love that fucking show.
Yeah?
Yes.
Good.
Because I like She-Hulk.
All right.
My point exactly. There's so much to choose from. that you can just pick. You can choose and go, well, there's this and there's this. I don't like that one. I don't have to watch that one, but this one looks good, right? That's a beautiful thing. We didn't have that before. We've never had this before. And I think people want it so badly to be the Winter Soldier, because for some reason they think that's like the fucking pinnacle of cinema. But not everything's going to be that. People need to get comfortable with that idea.
That movie has extremely good pacing.
Yeah, it's a fine movie. It's not bad. It's one of the better MCU movies. But that's not saying a lot.
It also has, Captain America's ass. It's America's ass.
If we look at like all of the MCU movies leading up to Endgame, there's like 3 that are excellent relative to the other ones. Iron Man 1 is okay. It's not bad, but it's not great. Thor 1, 2, not great movies.
Nope.
No.
Captain America, First Avenger, it's all right. It's not great. It's weird, but it's good. It's okay. Winter Soldier, I'm in. It's a good movie. Civil War, not bad. It's fun, right? Black Panther, pretty damn good movie. It told a story, had a message. It was fine, right? Guardians 1, pretty good. Guardians 2, I could have done without that.
Actually, the one that really has grown on me even more has been Guardians 1. A lot of people really praise Guardians 2. I don't
think
really
it's that
feel
good
way.
compared to the first one.
No, the first one's
But-
way better.
But yeah, I think Guardians 1, the more and more I see it, the more and more that one I think really holds up.
But that's my point, kind of, right? Like, MCU movies as a whole, they're all fine. None of them are fucking the worst thing you've
Why
ever
didn't
seen.
you say Iron Man 2?
The same reason I didn't say Iron Man 3, Dave. All right? Look, the Iron Man movies are fine. Robert Downey, he made them work. Otherwise, they're not great films. Not great villains, not great motivations. Let's be honest, we all know it's true. But like I said, I just feel like we're in a place where there's a ton of Star Wars content to digest, ton of Marvel content to digest. There's a good bit of DC content to digest.
Somewhere in an alternate dimension, there is an Iron Man 2
That isn't bad.
that deals with Tony Stark's alcoholism,
Oh, Devil in a Bottle, yeah.
which is what that movie was supposed to be. And Disney and Marvel, like, we can't do that with our temple.
You know, maybe they'd have done it now. I don't know.
No,
But this is definitely a conversation to have a different time.
Yes, it is. We should add to the list.
MCU. Yes.
In parentheses, just in general.
Just in general.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for joining us on this very interesting low effort, nothing good volume 1. There will be a volume 2. I can almost guarantee you.
But yeah, there's going to be some more times where we just need low effort.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against you, everybody. We're just old and tired.
Yeah.
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 Shit aches randomly.
Yeah, it's life.
Yeah.
My back has been killing me the last few days. I don't know why.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, me too.
It's just 40.
Yes.
It's a hell of
Yeah.
a thing.
But listen, dear sweet listeners, why don't you get onto the socials and maybe let us know some of your thoughts. What are some topics that maybe you'd like to hear the crew talk about, bring up? And who knows, maybe we can even feature your idea on a future episode of Nothin Good.
It's a great idea. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you all next week.
Steve Harvey's mustache.